Okay, so we all want to be financially free, right? Like, who doesn't want to be a millionaire? But what if there's like a totally different way to get there? What if we ditch that whole hustle harder thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So you sent us this interview with a guy named Dave, and he seems to think that becoming a millionaire is all about like chilling out.
Right.
So is he onto something, or is this all just fantasy? Let's do a deep dive into his strategies
Sounds good.
and see what we can learn. So Dave's a huge believer in this thing he calls the manifestation method.
Okay.
Basically, he says that if you just like think about being rich really hard, it'll just happen. He even joked about like manifesting a yacht just by thinking about it.
Well, that's where things get interesting. He's tapping into this whole law of attraction thing,
Right.
which, has gotten super popular lately. It basically says that our thoughts can actually influence our reality and like attract good things when we focus on, positive thoughts.
So is it really that simple? Like, I just think about a yacht and poof, it's parked in my driveway.
Well, I mean, if it were that easy, we'd all be millionaires by now.
Right.
I think visualization is a really powerful tool,
Yeah.
but it works best when it's paired with action. It's like setting the GPS coordinates. You still got to drive the car to get there.
So I guess maybe ditching the vision board for a financial advisor is still a good idea?
Probably.
But what about all the actual work involved in becoming a millionaire? Dave had this hilarious bit about like having a dream team to do all the things he didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
He even joked about hiring someone to like wake him up and handle his whole morning routine.
Yeah, that's taking delegation to a whole new level.
Right.
Like, it makes you think, if you could afford it, what would you delegate? Like, what would you pay someone else to do so you could have more time and energy?
I mean, honestly, I'd pay someone to fold my laundry
Yeah,
and do the dishes.
that's fair.
But okay, let's get to Dave's lottery strategy. So he bought one lottery ticket like 18 months ago,
Wow.
and he's convinced he's going to win big.
Wow.
He's like, I'm still in it.
Well, winning the lottery is definitely possible, but statistically, the odds are like super slim.
Yeah.
It's like relying on luck alone without any other financial plan. It's kind of like building a house of cards in a hurricane.
Yikes.
Yeah?
So maybe holding onto that winning ticket isn't the best financial advice,
Probably not.
but it does make you think about luck and chance.
Right.
And like, how much of a role do they play in success? Is there a good balance between like working hard and hoping for the best?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
It really speaks to this human desire for a shortcut.
Uh-huh.
Lotteries are fascinating from a psychological point of view. They offer that glimmer of hope, a fantasy of like instant wealth.
Yeah.
And that can be incredibly alluring even if it's really unlikely.
So it's kind of like a cultural phenomenon.
Totally.
This idea of getting rich quick.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there's something in there about balancing hard work with a little bit of optimism.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't control everything, but we can definitely increase our chances through hard work and smart decisions.
Right.
Luck might play a small part, but consistency and good choices, that's what builds the foundation.
That makes sense. Okay, so maybe crossing my fingers isn't the best financial plan.
Uh-huh.
But speaking of effort, or lack thereof, let's talk about Dave's idea of research. So he says he learns about business by watching reruns of Shark Tank.
Oh, wow.
He's hoping some of that entrepreneurial magic rubs off on him.
At first glance, that sounds a little bit like trying to learn to cook just by watching cooking shows.
Yeah.
But there is a little wisdom there.
Okay.
I mean, seeing other people succeed and fail like they do on Shark Tank, it can give you some valuable insights.
So there's some value in his passive research after all.
There is, but it's like they say knowledge without action is like a car without an engine.
Oh, I like that.
You can admire the design, understand how it works,
Yeah.
but it won't go anywhere unless you put your foot on the gas pedal. The key is to actually do something with what you learn.
So binge watching Shark Tank won't magically turn me into a business mogul.
Uh-huh. Probably not.
Darn. But you bring up a good point about actually doing something with what you learn.
Right.
So what about you? What are some of your favorite ways to learn and stay inspired?
I really enjoy reading biographies of successful people.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating to learn about their journeys, their struggles, their triumphs, and it's so inspiring to see that even those who achieve extraordinary things, they also face their own challenges.
That's so true. And it reminds us that failure is just a part of the process,
Exactly.
not the end.
Not at all. And speaking of journeys, let's talk about Dave's social media habits.
Okay.
So he thinks that by commenting on photos of like luxury cars and mansions online, it helps him manifest harder.
What?
He's like pre-ordering his millionaire lifestyle through Instagram comments.
Uh-huh. I love that.
You
It's
know,
almost like he's trying to trick the universe.
right. There's definitely an interesting psychological thing going on there. I
Yeah.
mean, he is tapping into the power of visualization, which is at the core of the law of attraction. When we really imagine ourselves achieving our goals, it can create a much stronger sense of purpose and motivation.
So is there any science behind Dave's uh, social media pre-ordering?
There is, but it's not as simple as he might think. Visualizing things can be positive,
Yeah.
but we have to be mindful of the downsides of social media.
Right.
Constantly comparing ourselves to other people's perfect online lives can make us feel envious and inadequate,
Boy.
and that can actually hold us back.
It's like they say, comparison is the thief of joy.
Exactly.
We need to be careful about how social media makes us feel about success.
For sure. Social media can be great for inspiration,
Hmm.
but it's so easy to fall into that trap of comparison and negativity.
It's a tough balance.
It is. What are your thoughts on Dave's approach to social media, given what we just talked about?
Well, it seems like he's using it to reinforce his goals, but maybe without really thinking about the negative side.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to create a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's a really good point. It's important to remember that while visualization can be powerful, it has to be grounded in reality. It takes real work to reach our goals.
So commenting on a Lamborghini pic probably won't make one appear in my driveway.
Probably not.
Okay, good to know. But it does raise a question about ambition and desire, right?
Right.
If we don't dream big and picture the life we want, how can we even hope to get there?
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance. Now, to wrap up our look at Dave's unconventional wisdom, let's talk about his ultimate aspiration, to be a sponsored professional procrastinator.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he wants to turn his aversion to work into a brand. He's even got a name for it, the Lazy Millionaire.
Okay, that's amazing. It's kind of a funny take on how work is changing, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're seeing more and more people finding unique ways to make money, doing side hustles and creating their own careers.
It's like the old definition of work is being completely redefined.
Right.
So maybe Dave is onto something with this lazy millionaire thing.
Right. It definitely reflects a shift in our culture. People want more control over their time.
Yeah.
They want more flexibility, and they want work that aligns with their values.
I mean, who doesn't want that?
Right. So this whole idea of making procrastination a brand, it's funny, but it speaks to this desire for a less stressful and more enjoyable way to work. What if we could redefine work completely? What if it included only things we actually enjoy?
That would be amazing.
Right. Could we find success that feels more like a fulfilling journey?
I love that. It makes me think about all the things we do just because we feel like we have to, not because they bring us joy or give us a sense of purpose.
I know exactly what you mean.
So even though Dave's lazy millionaire approach may not be the ultimate guide to financial freedom,
Right.
it definitely makes us rethink our relationship with work and money.
Absolutely. He's a good reminder that it's okay to question the usual way of doing things, to challenge our assumptions and think outside the box, and most importantly, to enjoy the journey, even when we're going after big goals.
I agree. A little laughter and fun can go a long way.
For sure.
So it's like he's saying it's cool to do things your own way, even if it's a little weird.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big takeaways here. Dave's approach makes us think about our own beliefs about work and money, It makes you wonder, what if success isn't about working ourselves to death? What if it's about finding work that we're actually passionate about?
Maybe that's the real secret to being a lazy millionaire, finding that spot where your passion meets your purpose and then taking action. But let's be real, Dave's approach isn't exactly a step-by-step guide to financial success.
No, not really. He's not giving us a blueprint or anything.
Right.
He is encouraging us to think differently about money and success. It's about asking ourselves, what does being wealthy really mean to me? And how can I get there in a way that I actually enjoy?
So it's like he's saying ditch the rule book and define success for yourself.
Exactly. And that's what's so valuable about it. There's no one right way to be successful or happy. What works for one person might not work for another. It's all about finding what works for you, what fits your strengths and your passions.
So maybe becoming a lazy millionaire isn't about avoiding work altogether. It's about changing how we think about work and finding ways to make it fun and meaningful.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's about finding that place where work doesn't feel like a chore anymore. It feels like an expression of who you really are.
It's like they say, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
Maybe Dave's just reminding us to do more of the things we love,
Yeah, I think so.
even if it doesn't look like the traditional path to success.
I agree. He's encouraging us to break free from the mold, to
Hmm.
challenge the assumptions about what it means to be successful, and to create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling, financially and personally.
So we might not all become millionaires by wishing really hard,
Uh-huh. No, probably not.
but we can learn from Dave's playful approach. Maybe if we have a little more fun and put a little less pressure on ourselves,
Hmm.
we can actually improve our chances of success.
I think that's a really important point. He reminds us that there's always more than one way to reach our goals.
Yeah.
It's about being open to new ideas, trying things out, and finding what works best for you. And maybe, most importantly, having fun along the way.
Yeah, because what's the point of achieving great things if you're miserable the whole time?
Right. A little laughter and a light heart can make the journey so much more enjoyable.
So to wrap up our look at Dave's unique philosophy, it seems like his lazy millionaire idea is more about mindset than method.
Yeah.
It's about challenging how we think about things, being creative, and finding the joy in the process.
Exactly. And that's maybe the most important lesson here.
Right.
While we might not all get rich just by thinking positive thoughts,
Mhm.
we can definitely make success more likely by having fun, focusing on what matters, and believing in ourselves.
And on that note,
Yes.
we'll leave you with one final thought. If you could achieve all your dreams without giving up happiness and peace of mind, what would you go after?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What truly makes you happy? What makes you feel alive?
Maybe the answers to those questions hold the key to finding your own unique path to success, whatever that looks like for you.
So it's kind of like he's giving us permission to say, hey, it's okay to want a good life.
Right.
It's okay to want things to be easy, even when we're going after big goals.
I think that's so important, especially these days. You know, everyone's talking about the hustle and the grind.
Yeah,
But Dave's reminding us that success doesn't have to mean burning ourselves out.
exactly.
Maybe a little bit of laziness, not in a bad way, but like letting go of all the stress.
Yeah.
Maybe that can actually help us be more successful.
It's funny, when you think about it, a lot of really successful people,
Yeah.
they seem to have this effortless thing about them. It's like they're not forcing it, they're just in the flow.
That's a great point. It's like they figured out how to align what they do with their passions and their purpose.
Right? And when you're in that place, things just seem to flow.
So maybe Dave is onto something with this whole lazy millionaire thing.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not about literally being lazy, but about finding that flow in our lives.
I think that's it. Exactly.
It's about figuring out how to make our efforts feel less like work and more like just a natural part of who we are.
And when we can do that, success just seems to follow.
It's like that saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh, I love that one.
Maybe Dave is just reminding us to bring more of what we love into our work, even if it looks a little different than what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely. He's saying, hey, it's okay to break the rules.
Mm.
Challenge the status quo and really create a life that feels right for you.
So we might not all get rich just by thinking about it,
Right?
but there's definitely something to be said for Dave's approach.
Yeah.
Maybe if we embrace the joy a little more and stress a little less, we'll actually be more successful.
It's like the key to abundance isn't about pushing and forcing it.
Yeah. It's about finding that alignment, finding the joy, and just letting success happen naturally.
So on that note, we want to leave you with one last thought.
Okay.
What if the secret to achieving your dreams isn't about forcing them, but about creating space for them to just show up? What if you went after your goals with a sense of ease and playfulness and a deep belief in yourself? Maybe that's the real path to becoming the lazy millionaire of your own life.
That's a great way to end it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.